that's not going to be our job to pick up. You know, it's going to be the citizens who either own the house or live in that, rent it. It's your responsibility to clean up after yourselves and not just stick couches and that stuff out by the road, because we are going to start finding people, and we started last week finding them. And then also, if you got dogs and you're walking the parks and that kind of stuff, you got to have them on leashes. You know, there's too much stuff that can happen. Some dogs get along with other ones, some don't. So just make sure you have your dogs on leashes.
And please also carry a bag along with you.
And clean up after them.
And it's amazing, I just saw a couch last night. Someone just threw it out the front as if we have daily pickup for couches.
Yep.
So with that, if someone does that, like, is that, I assume that's, you give them a warning to remove it, and it's finable?
Yeah, we pretty much
Eventually, right?
gave everybody warnings and that kind of stuff, so it's fining now.
Okay.
Chief Buell,
No report.
Chief Snyder,
Nothing.
Roscoe Hoffman, IT.
No report for today, sir, but the next meeting I will have something.
Bert Cook, Economic Development.
No report.
Craig Phillips, Planning.
No report.
Mike Fraze, Street Department.
We started picking up leaves Monday, and we're working through the city. We'll make 3 rounds this year, and on November 18th, we're putting up the Christmas tree.
And for leaves, where are you today? And you're going clockwise, correct?
Wise, they're over by, they started at Rumney Street and going around. And then the leaf acts are over in, we was gonna do out there on Monroe, but Reeve and Riley's out there grinding Monroe Street, so they're over in, off 18th.
Perfect, thank you. I have asked department heads to stick around after the meeting for 10 minutes, so please, everybody do stick around, don't leave early. New business, Nick Otis.
Yeah, got a couple items here. The first one is an infrastructure reimbursement agreement between the City of LaPorte Redevelopment Commission and Arnco Properties LLC. This is a senior living facility located in the 39 North area. I'd ask Bert Cook to come up and kind of address kind of the specifics of this project. It has already been approved by the Redevelopment Commission last week, and I'll let Bert touch on this project.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Bert Cook, Executive Director of the LaPorte Economic Advancement Partnership. So we've talked about this project itself before. It's on 39 North, called the Bella Largo Senior Living Facility. It's about a 48,000 square foot building, $16 million investment into the 39 North area, about 63 assisted living rooms and 37 memory care rooms as well. So the piece that you're looking at in front of you, the project has moved forward. We've talked about it at the city council meeting a few months back. But the agreement that you're looking at in front of you is an agreement for assisting with some of the infrastructure, the public roadway that will ultimately serve the site. And so you'll see as you review the agreement that as a matter of summary, that we're asking you to approve $134,150.62 in ARP funds. And then item 4 is a $76,720.57 subsidy for infrastructure as well. The way the agreement is written, the $76,000 would come from the County Redevelopment Commission. So if you think back to as we annexed this property, the 39 North area was a TIF district set up by the county, and so there are funds at the county level that appreciate Matt Reardon and his team. We've been working on finding ways that we can spend those dollars that will assist with the growth of the 39 North area. So that is not approved yet by the County Redevelopment Commission, so I want to be clear about that. If you choose to support the agreement, we would forward this to them for their consideration. Based on the discussions we've had previously, it looks like it will be something that the County Redevelopment Commission can support. But as we sit here today, they've not signed this agreement or agreed to this. So I just want to be clear on that. But ultimately, that if they do go forward with that, that $76,000 would come to our Redevelopment Commission, who would ultimately put that into the project. I think on the agreement that I believe you have, if you look at the last page, you'll see a drawing. It's got a red area and a yellow area. The red area is the public roadway, which once constructed will be part of the city. The city will maintain that, and that'll be the access point for that development. So the agreement gives us a way to help offset some of the costs associated with the public infrastructure for this project. Has been through our redevelopment commission, would go through Board of Public Works, and then obviously, as I mentioned previously, we would forward to the county redevelopment commission as well, if it's something that you support.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
So, do,
Do we have a second first?
well, I'm just thinking, might we want to, well, second.
Discussion. Mr. Kosher.
I'm thinking that we may want to approve this contingent upon the county approving the subsidy.
Well, your piece is the ARP fund, so I want to be clear, that's what we're asking you to support.
okay.
Yeah, the ARP component of this.
The 136,
Correct.
So what if?
134.
If the county does not approve the 76,000, where are we at with this?
So the 76,000, if the county doesn't approve it, that wouldn't be part of our redevelopment commission's agreement, because those funds are coming from the county.
So that, whatever that would have been spent on is just kind of pulled from the program.
Correct. We're a little bit, there's a little bit of a chicken and egg scenario. We have so many different bodies with so many different meeting schedules that we have to kind of get some people on board before the next group can take
Okay.
action.
That's why I was just thinking, like, I don't know if we want to do that sort of contingent upon their approval, but, so there's a path forward, even if they don't approve, that's not going to impact sort of our budget.
Yeah,
right?
the one,
Outside
we're
of
asking you
ARP
for the
funds.
134, which is
Yeah.
ARP funds.
ARP
to
funds.
That'll
go to
happen
the
no matter
project.
what.
Regardless.
Regardless of what the county decides.
Okay.
And I want to just be clear, we've had really good conversation with the County Redevelopment Commission. I don't want anyone to misinterpret that we're putting any cart before the horse. We have to do this
Okay.
in steps.
Okay, I'm good with that. Yeah.
Further discussion?
I just wonder, because we don't have color copies, so when you go back to the map, which one is it?
It's
The
the,
access road,
yeah, the main road.
main road? Okay.
Can I approach, do you mind, Mayor?
Please. You may.
Okay. Oh, no, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood which one it was.
Just, well, yeah, I kind of actually figured it, even though I figured where it was just with the description, but, yeah, because the copies didn't come out so well. So, but where is that, so what's the nearest crossroad? I can't really picture what piece of property that's on.
So you have 39, and then the Hampton Inn is right here.
That, okay. Oh, okay, I see. Yep. Thank you.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes, and this is an excellent project for senior living, and we've talked about housing. Would this project have happened without the improvements to the water infrastructure?
Absolutely not. I think this is one Tim Warner and I have spoken to at length at various public meetings over the last year. But this is one of those projects that, we appreciate the patience from the developer that as they kind of waited for us to work through our agreements with the 39 North Conservancy District for this property to become part of the city and for these, for the ultimate improvements to be, at this point, planned, but ultimately made as they begin to actually open the facility.
And I just want to be clear, with the developer, through the water superintendent, with the fire chief, with economic development, that this project would not have happened unless we were in the process of making these improvements to the water infrastructure on 39 North.
Yep.
And I want to thank Mark Childress and the 39 board for also making that happen, because this is development of senior living, which is much needed in our community. And if we could just have color copies in the future, it would be appreciated.
I'll do my best.
I think we did vote.
We did.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hey, Bert, if you could stay up there for the next item, too.
Nick Otis, sewer facilities.
Thank you. We have two sewer facility easement agreements. It's for the same project. It just goes over two different parcels. This involves, as you would all know, the Cablelands area. Cablelands actually has an entity set up for where the Cablelands location is, and then where the old Streeter facility was, they have a separate LLC, Westgate Place, where they're doing a pretty nice commercial development. This allows us to put in sewer facilities in the area where we don't currently have them. And maybe if Bert could touch on what the commercial side of it, and then Jerry could touch on the sewer aspect of it.
Yeah, and I just would say that we've worked hand in hand with Cableins to come up with a development plan for that area. I think they've got a really nice commercial development that they're well underway on, some great leases. I think there'll be some exciting announcements when the time is right for that on the west side. And then maybe I'll stop there, and I know Jerry can speak to the actual infrastructure piece.
We don't have a public sewer on. We don't have a public sewer on State Road 2. The Streeters building, which is gone, of course, and the dentist at 1339 West State Road 2, connected into the Cableins private sewer, which wandered through their parking lot all the way to the north to Fifth Street. So it was a very poor sewer system that was in there that served a number of different customers. This will build a public sewer across their parking lot to serve the new development, to serve Cableins, to serve the dentist's office and Eggbrecht Road. There's a parcel there at the end of Eggbrecht Road that could potentially be developed. So it solves a number of problems for the city, and then it also supports a new development.
There is a payment that, of $25,000 total, $12,500 for each of the LLCs. And this is a pretty significant benefit to the city, and that's why the city is paying for this easement.
And it's a relatively small part of the cost of the extension.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a fairly expensive extension.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion?
So just the two pieces, so between, like, the DBK agreement part, so that's really to go through the parking lot, looks like?
Correct.
Yes.
DBK is the entity that owns where Cableins, the building is located. And then Westgate Place is the parcel which you would know as the Streeter parcel. So, but that's what's going to have the new development on it, the commercial building or buildings. Is it one or two? I don't remember how many.
It's one building.
One building with potentially multiple commercial tenants in it.
And then, so the funding for this, does this come out of kind of the overall project?
Out of
cost?
wastewater capital, yep.
And this is to the benefit of each of those owners, correct?
It is, and it's a benefit to the city because we've got customers served on private lines, and then we also don't serve egg break, so
Okay.
there's
And we
shared
also
benefit.
don't.
Don't have a sewer back to Egg Break Road.
So this will open up service to anything back there along Eggbrecht?
Yep, yep.
And then, so with private lines, we're still responsible for, I mean.
That's a problem. I've got, 4 or 5 houses on private lines, and when they plug, they all go like this, and so that's why we don't let people build private lines anymore.
Okay.
So this is cleaning up one of those problems.
How long ago were allowed to put private lines? Is that a long time ago?
Well, yeah, there's pieces of Weller Avenue that I know are private that were built in the 20s and 30s. I don't know why that was ever thought to be a good idea. We went kind of round and around with Hunter's Woods on that because some of those buildings have a number of services, and we said, no, you gotta have a private service for each unit in the building, because if they plug, then you gotta be able to say that's your line to fix. And so we don't allow that anymore, but at one time it was. I've got one on Fifth Street right now that's
But
causing a
just,
problem.
but to help
So-
with the concern of Mr.
Yeah, so I guess I
O'Malley.
was just curious if we're paying out $25,000, but it's to the benefit of the owners. I was just curious why we're paying them anything
Well,
if
it's a
to their
benefit to us too.
benefit.
We don't have an easement right now. And so this gives us, not uncommon to pay for an easement. That's it.
I understand
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but
Well,
it's
and if-
also,
If I could add, I think the other thing, and I really appreciate this out of Jerry, when they started considering this, we recognized early on that this was an issue for the development, but likely for a lot of the customers in the area as well. I mean, Jerry's assistance in getting involved in solving a problem the right way. Now, it helps a development, right, which is great to see, but really, we're solving issues that we should have probably rectified 50 years ago in the process. And so I think that's a really, from a long-range perspective, that makes a lot of sense. And I appreciate Jerry, taking that tact with it, because could just kick it down the road, and then we'd be having this discussion, again, when there's the next problem in the area.
We'd spend considerably more if we were just gonna get a public service over to the dentist's office on our own, for example.
Okay.
How would we even do that? Would we run it under the highway?
They have to either go on the highway, which is not easy, or get an easement. So, yeah,
Alongside or something like that, right?
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So but this will also open up capacity back to Eggbrook, right?
Yes, yeah, because right now Eggbrecht is, that industrial building back there, we believe has a service that runs up to Fifth Street, and then there's a parcel on the corner that's pretty much undeveloped. And it was weird, because we got talking about all this, and then I got a call from some developer who's interested in that parcel. So I don't know why that all happens at once, but it did. So,
Further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Jerry Jackson,
Oh,
McClung
Mayor, real
Road.
quick, sorry, I didn't have an item on the agenda, but, and I apologize for the lateness of this, but yesterday, the mayor and I and Nick Minnick met with Norfolk Southern, and you have already approved the donation agreement. We are very close to closing on this, when we may close on it before the next Board of Works meeting. Meridian Title requires that we have a signed resolution authorizing somebody to sign all of the closing documents. Typically, that's the mayor, and that's what we're requesting here. So you've already approved the donation agreement. Norfolk Southern has approved it, but we just need this to provide to Meridian for the closing. So I'm just asking for that approval, because it will likely happen before the next Board of Works meeting.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Mayor, I don't know if you want to touch on that meeting. I thought it was a very positive meeting yesterday with Norfolk Southern. It's taken a long time. I became the city attorney in 2017, and just getting anybody to respond from Norfolk Southern was difficult. I will tell you, the gentleman that came up yesterday, very positive, and they've been extremely responsive within the last 18 months, so.
Well, and I think Jeff Batchelor from Code got their attention, and we appreciated all that work to get them to be more responsive. So thank you, Jeff. It was a great team effort, and Norfolk is trying to put a new face at the front of Norfolk Corporate as a railroad. And as they've said, they're using this standard with LaPorte to work with other communities, not only in Indiana, but across the nation, that had the same feeling that Norfolk responded to nobody, or railroads respond to nobody at the federal level, state level, or local level. And this is a beginning, and this is exciting to have the depot buildings back where they belong and should never leave again, and that's with the residents and the city of LaPorte. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Jerry Jackson, McClung Road.
I've got change order number 2 from Change order number 2 from McClung Road, on the amount of $56,683. I sent out an email to the board members, kind of going through the logic of how we got on this one. This primarily serves the VFW, which was annexed, and is now part of the city. The VFW gave us an easement to further north to serve the parcels on the north side of Fish Trap Lake. That was all part of the easement, or part of the annexation agreement. And as I mentioned, VFW is an outfit we'd like to support. So I'd recommend approval for this change order.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. And again, if we didn't do this, they're going to have issues down the road.
Without a doubt, yeah, they need sewer service.
Further discussion? And again, it came with a lot of support from the veterans, individual veterans that were asking, hey, we need this updated, so. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next quote.
I got quotes to replace our, this is a little four-wheeler utility vehicle. It's that we drive around the treatment plant property. It's got a bed on the back. We put pumps and tools, and then we also use it to plow snow. The current one is 10 years old, and it's rusted out pretty badly, about on its last legs. I got 4 quotes, one from Maxim in Maryville for a Can-Am that was $33,209.97. Kirsting, which is down in North Judson, they sell a Landmaster vehicle that's kind of similar, $21,099. Kirsting has also offered a Yamaha, which was $16,823. That was the low quote. Riggs here in town offered a Kubota. In looking at these numbers, they're under our buy on an open market, so we're not really strictly required to go get quotes. The Riggs was more expensive, but it's a diesel engine, which runs and runs and runs and runs, so it's very nice to have maintenance-wise, and it also has twice the capacity of the Yamaha from Kirsting as far as carrying equipment, and we do carry heavy equipment. So it's a much more rugged piece of equipment. So I would recommend that we purchase the Kubota from Riggs.
And I love that you're buying local.
I love to buy local too. They pay our sewer bills. Yeah.
What will happen with the old Kubota?
We haven't had an auction for a while. That's typically how we get rid of it. We can put it up for sale probably. We won't keep it.
Okay. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Nick Minnick.
And before I start, I want to mention, absent from my list of items here is the slicer pathway. So we opened that a while back, and I've not been able to get to a point where I'm ready to make a recommendation based on cost. And we only have so much from our grant from HFL, and just the amount of work that really needs to be done to make the project successful exceeds what we have right now. So I need to kind of keep sharpening the pencil, and hopefully we can get to a point where we can make a recommendation on that still.
But I also want to thank Nick because that's a great project for safety for the kids walking to school. And it's going to be worth the wait to save the funds, but when it happens, it'll be excellent for those kids walking on the street.
Yep. The first item we have is opening bids for the 2024-2025 street paving program. And again, we do not have our notice as to what community crossing grant funds we have received, but we want to make sure that when we do get that, we're able to move quickly and execute a contract.
We did publish this in the Herald Dispatch on October 18th and October 25th. We received 2 bids, and I'm just going to hand them to Nick.
Okay. First bid is from Reeve Riley Construction Company.
I hope the size of the packet means we want to get a lot of work done.
Reeve Riley always provides a copy of their entire bid for us, so it's appreciated. Right, the bid from Reeve Riley is in the amount of $3,674,094.04. That's 3674094.04. And we'll review these, and should have plenty of time before we get our notice from the state.
The commercial grade staples are fun.
I have had a request from the clerk treasurer's office to put in our bid packages to not use staples on these.
Clamps.
Staff time. The second bid, sorry, apologize. Second bid is from Milestone Contractors LP. Bid from Milestone is in the amount of $3,249,581.04. That's 3249581.04. So, yeah.
Do you need a motion to accept these bids?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to accept these and review based on engineering and legal approval?
So moved.
Second.
I do have a motion and a second. Discussion. And some of this work, depending on when we receive state funds, our goal, like I'll say, Maple, could still happen this year, depending.
It all depends on when the state funds come in. Normally, there's no more asphalt after Thanksgiving, so it's a tight timeline, but a lot of these are pretty simple resurfacing projects.
I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Chessie Trail Phase 2 change order.
We are wrapping up Chessie Trail Phase 2, starting to close out, and we do have the first change order for the project. This removes the green thermoplastic. We worked with NDOT and kind of came to an agreement as to what they preferred, and it's kind of worked out to our advantage. I think the striping and everything looks nice for Chessie, and it also is a reduction in the contract price by $27,265.73. So I'd recommend approval of change order 1 for Chessie Trail.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now, I will tell you this, we've talked for years of how we make our downtown Lincoln Way more walkable, slow down traffic so families feel comfortable to enjoy our downtown. And Nick Minnick has worked for 10 years, you know, trying to find ideas. We've been working since this administration took over of how to find ways to slow down traffic, make it more walkable. And I will tell you, I can't say enough good things about this project that is now labeled Lincoln Walk, which I know is a favorite of many, including Mr. Cook, that I think is a great name to make our downtown more safe for children, families, and more walkable. And this is the first step, and I think it's a great step. So I want to thank Nick Minnick because he really set a really cool project that's going to begin the change in the future of what our downtown looks like.
And just a little bit of background, as you know, we continually are looking at how do we solve the issue of creating a safer, business-friendly, family-friendly downtown, something that people can really be, it's accessible and available. We continually push the larger projects that will start to reduce truck traffic on Lincoln Way, but we're as we continue to push those, we don't want to wait. We want to start making some improvements now. One way we can do this would be tactical urbanisms, which is essentially low-cost interim solutions. The one that we're working on with Lincoln Walk is, again, trying to make it safer for pedestrians to be downtown. I think there'll be some added benefits as to, hopefully it'll have a positive impact on downtown parking. We're not taking any spaces away, but essentially we're doing some additional striping. So we're looking at striping what you'd call bump outs. So more or less where the protected parking lanes are, or where the parking lanes are, kind of having the paint where it would be protected with a curb if a curb was allowed. We're not allowed to put the curbs, but we will have paint and then flexible delineators. You see them a lot around town where they're surface mounted. We'll order plenty so that we know they'll get run over regularly. But essentially what that will do is visually narrow what we see as Lincoln Way. So we'll have delineators and striping coming out to the edge of the parking lane that reduces the pedestrian crossing distance and makes vehicles more aware of the things around them. So it's a little bit of psychology and just a tiny bit of engineering, and hopefully makes an impact. I mentioned low cost, so because it's low cost, we were able to get quotes. We sent quotes to 3 striping companies. A lot of this is handwork, so we ended up receiving a quote back from one company, ProDrive, local company, is in the amount of $36,580. That is for the striping component. So the city street department will coordinate and assist with traffic control, and then we'll also have street department installing the delineators, which is something that they have experience doing. So we're looking for approval of the quote from ProDrive in the amount of $36,580. Have some coordination to continue with NDOT, but ProDrive is ready to start as long as weather holds out and temperatures of the pavement stay above 40 degrees.
And this work will be done this year. I mean, I'm not asking, I'm stating it will be done. And again, each intersection from
We're targeting from Madison to Jackson. So it's a pretty good stretch of our downtown. Should help, definitely.
Motion to approve.
I'm abstaining.
So moved.
I will second that with Member Romine abstaining because of ProDrive. But please ask questions.
I was at the presentation that you did for Small Roundtable, and I thought it was a great idea. I love seeing the visuals. I thought there were a lot of great questions asked, and I'm excited to see it, and I'm glad that it's going to happen yet this year. So I think that small business owners that are downtown are all, I think the feedback from them was also very positive and encouraging, and I think they're very excited for it too, from the people that were in attendance that evening.
So noticing that on the form, you got like some piano key. So is that about the crossing? Like the actual pedestrian crossing, increasing sort of the visibility of it?
And honestly, that is the one item that's going to be the biggest challenge to get done this fall. So that requires more traffic control and more time. The other portions don't. So if there is any one part of this that we push, it would be that, but it would be the standard, the piano key, which is a little more visible.
Gotcha, okay. I know, I think people might sort of think like, well, this is just sort of cosmetics, but I'm glad you pointed out the psychology of it. I've certainly seen in other communities where they have the markings for pedestrian crossings, appropriate parking areas is much easier to see. And I think that does, make a difference. I don't know if there's studies out there to prove it, but it certainly should visually improve sort of the safety piece of, these are areas not to be driving into or parking.
Exactly.
And I'd also like to mention, on behalf of Mr. Minnick, I presented this to the LaPorte certain mentoring students, and Mr. Minnick has the endorsement of the students as a part of the mentoring program that really like this idea to slow down Lincoln Way. So,
It's fantastic.
further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes with one member abstaining. Unfinished business. Monday, Veterans Day. I know people are busy or people are off. Please come to the Civic Auditorium to support our veterans, say thank you for our freedom. It's an hour program with the middle school, with students. Please find an hour to say thank you for our veterans. We want to pack the house at the Civic, and it's good to see that we've already provided the News Dispatch with headlines with the Lincoln Walk. You don't have to work, you can go have a late lunch or a long lunch. And with that, do I have remember department heads, please stick around after we sign.
Hold on 1 second. I apologize. I had a quote that came in. We were supposed to open today, and I didn't get it on the agenda. It's for 701 Washington Street. If we can do it, if not,
So,
then,
but we have,
yeah, it's here.
Well, members,
We're just opening it to take a look at it.
so one of the things that we're doing while we're asking for that high expectation, high standard for residents, businesses, and so forth, the city, we have to do our part. And so we do have a building at 701 Washington Street, and we're going to update the windows, update the garage doors, and so forth. So I think that's important to do what we say we're going to do while we're asking others to do the same.
And I don't know how many quotes you sent out, but we did receive one quote this morning.
Yeah, there was 3 that was sent out.
So Phoenix Glass,
so just one came back?
We own that, right? Yeah.
Jeff, was there a deadline on these? Or do we expect any more to come in to still be considered, or is this?
They were
Oh,
supposed, today at 9 o'clock was
okay,
the
there you go.
deadline.
Thank you.
Yeah, these are quotes and not bids, just to be clear. Yep.
So we can move on this or Mr. Batchelor could move on if approved.
Yeah, so the bid that I see is $25,349 for that. And everything looks like it was done appropriately and that stuff, so.
You can't accept it if there's money for it and you're ready to move on it. Yep.
So do I have a motion to allow Mr. Batchelor to review along with legal?
Or you can accept it now if you're ready to move on it.
I'd just like to take and place it under advisement right now.
Okay, that's fine too. You can do
Talk
that.
to-
Be a motion pending review.
Correct.
Yeah.
But will we have to wait till the next Board of Works, or if he finds that it's acceptable, can just go ahead
You
and
can
begin?
give them the authority to accept that, yep.
Because of the low amount.
Yeah. So I make a motion to approve pending, I guess what did you,
Acceptance by department head and legal.
just by department
Yeah.
head legal, okay.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Everybody have a great day.